to the third episode of Mystery Box Monday. I hope you enjoyed the first two episodes. And if you haven't seen them, I've got a playlist going over on the channel. So if you get to my channel and find the playlist section, you can find the Mystery Box Monday playlist and see all the episodes. And if you're not sure what's going on, definitely go back, and I'll put the link right there to episode number 1, which explains what's happening. And without further ado, let's get started. As in the past, I'm going to take this box off screen, and we are going to pull out 3 items and see what we've got. In the last episode, I got 2 sets of dies that are coordinating dies that belong with stamp sets, and I don't know if in this box are the stamp sets, so I'm really, really curious to see if what comes out of this box could perhaps possibly be stamp sets. Now, I can feel the packages when I reach into this box, so I'm going to try and not let that influence me, but you never know. Oh, I've got some ink. So that's item number 1 that we're going to put to use. I've got a puffy package. Oh, more flowers. In episode number 1, I had some flowers. So that is item number 2. And then I've got what feels like a stamp set, and it is a stamp set. So here's item number 3. And let's see what we've got. This is a Spectrum Noir product. Now, they're known for their alcohol ink markers. This says water reactive dye for blending and distressing in Midnight. So that is item number 1. So I played with inky stuff in the last episode. Of course, it was not a mystery product. So I'll be getting inky again this time. Item number 2 is actually from Simon Says Stamp. So as you may know, this whole box is a mystery box from Simon Says Stamp Company. So this is one of their stamps, and it's a holiday set. So give thanks, Merry Christmas, and there's a pumpkin in there. So this has some holiday vibes to it. And then item number 3 is from Prima, of course. Those flowers definitely scream Prima. And I'm not sure what the product line is. Now, as a caveat, because these items came in a mystery box, they're probably discontinued, and I don't know for sure. I will find whatever links I can to these products and put them in the show notes, but if they are discontinued, that's why. So I will get to using these items to make a project. I'm not sure what that project will be yet, so keep watching and we'll see.
So I decide with that blue ink and these blue flowers in this package that I will use this photo of my daughter's school photo from the beginning of the school year. And this frame from that flower package will be perfect to use with just this single small photo. And because I've got some ink and some stamps, I'm going to put those together. And I'm also going to use the ink for mixed media techniques. And this is a Vicky Bouton mixed media paper pad, and I enjoy it for, wet techniques. And this pad does have perforations that when it comes out, so I will give that edge a trim to smooth it off. And then I bring it back on screen, and I'm going to use my frame here to kind of give myself a size, because I want the inside of that frame to stay pretty clean and just have the inky technique going on around the outside of that frame. So I just mark the corners with a pencil, and I squished some ink onto a piece of plastic and then added some water, and then use my paintbrush, and I get going with this kind of painty technique. And then I'm going to add some paint up to the upper left hand corner to kind of create a bit of a diagonal, and then I use some water to distress that ink, and it reacts very well, much like the Tim Holtz distress ink does react with water. And then I just add some additional splatters, and I've got a super simple painted background going on. Now I let that dry on its own, and you can see how those water splatters left some really interesting color separation from that ink. It has some kind of purple undertones to it, and I really enjoyed that. So I'm just adding some foam adhesive to this frame to give it a little dimension and lift off of my page, and then I will turn to some other techniques. I've got these stamps going on, and I'm going to use this little banner stamp to build up a little bit of a title for my page. And you'll see me later, I'll pull in a stamp set from my stash to kind of help finish off this title. So I'm going to stamp this on just a spare piece of cardstock, and I'm going to fussy cut that out and then use that as a space for building up some words for my title. And here I am back with the stamp set again, and I decide that I wanted to add more texture and detail to this background. So because I'm going to be using these fabric flowers from Prima, that I will add some more floral elements. And even though this stamp set was kind of a seasonal holiday stamp set, it did have these flower elements in there, and I could totally use those without any seasonal context to them. And I just start stamping various layers. There's some kind of leafy elements and these flower elements, and I'll come in with yet a third kind of branching, and I just add a lot of texture with these stamps. And because I'm using the ink full strength, you get a more solid color that you don't get when you are doing the mixed media watercoloring background with it. And I really just keep using different stamps and building up lots and lots of texture. Now some of this will get covered up by those fabric flowers, so it's going to be more subtle than it looks here, which is kind of what I'm going for, just that background texture. And so I set that aside and I turn to the next part of the layout. And I'm getting my photo adhered. I'm kind of tucking the bottom of the photo underneath the frame and the top of the photo on top of the frame to give it a little more dimension. And then here's those flowers, and I'm pulling those in there. Now I only end up using kind of 3 flowers down on the bottom of this layout, and I wish I had gone back and kind of thought about putting an extra flower up in that diagonal. But that's what happens when you're working on something. You get focused on certain aspects and kind of don't see the bigger picture necessarily. So anyway, here's that stamp set that I pulled out of my stash, which is a number stamp set, and I'm going to use this Dove blender pen, and I stamped with that ink, and then I'm going to use the pen to pull some of the color for more of a watercolory effect to go with the rest of the painterly background. And the thing about this blender pen is that if you just directly pick up ink, you can use it just like a marker. So I give it a little test to make sure it's got the ink that I want. And I'm just using it to draw on the TH to make this read 7th. And I just add a couple layers till I'm satisfied with the darkness of it. And then that part is ready to go. And to clean this marker off, you just scribble on a piece of paper until it runs clear again, and then you can use it for blending whatever you have next. So I'm going to use that banner, and I've got a gold pen going on here to write the word grade, so the title is going to be 7th grade, since this is her school photo from her 7th grade year here. And because this ink is reactive, my pen is actually picking up some of that ink, so I have to kind of go slowly and scribble over it to get it to really show up well, which the camera isn't picking up. And then I'm going to use my pen to add some extra detail around the outside of this layout, which is something I do often. If you've seen some of my past videos, you know that this is a technique I like. And I also go back over it with a second line, which adds more of a squiggle to it, and it just adds a bit more texture, which I appreciate, especially on these mixed media layouts. So I use that upper corner to do my journaling, and then it's hard to see it on camera here, but I'm using my pen to add even more gold details, and I'm just kind of filling in some of those flower centers, a little bit of the petals, just to give it a little more pop. And you'll notice I added a bit more spatters to the inside of my frame there because it was a little too stark white compared to everything else. But that finishes off my layout for this one. I hope you enjoyed this Mystery Box Monday and that you're appreciating this Mystery Box series. I'm having a really good time with it. I will have one more episode of Mystery Box Monday for February. I'm aiming for every other Monday, but it depends on how the weeks fall. So come on back and join me for the next episode. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and get notifications for my future videos.